The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. Dubby's products are made in the USA in an FDA-inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom-made by Dubby, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. Dubby's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. Dubby Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. What the heck happened here? It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday morning. Already in my head, show didn't start the way I needed the show to start. Look at the small little screen on the side. It's because I was prepping for the interview that I have coming up in just a little bit with celebrity chef Josh Capon, who's going to join me here from the Little League World Series. It was pre-recorded. That's why you'll see me wearing something different. I say it all the time, guys. I keep it as transparent as I possibly can with y'all. Hopefully, you are having yourself a great morning. Augustine saying, what the heck happened here? It was a small tip. It's a grower, not a shower. Probably shouldn't have said that. Had to think about that. Jesus Christ. Got to remember there are some people who are taking their children to school. I apologize sincerely. I have a feeling Tommy's going to stop watching the show until about 8:30, until after he drops off his kids. I feel like this is, 4 days in a row that I've said something problematic that I probably shouldn't have said. But it's okay. It's all good. I am surviving. We're thriving. We're going through it. What's up, Augustine? Hope that you are having yourself a great day today. Play just the tip at the beginning of the show. I was debating on that. Instead of waiting till 8:30, just have it randomly, like just random points, because I feel like that flows better. Like I don't have to force myself to come up with, like hold off on a punchline until 8:30. I can just do it. Just do it the way that I need to do. Just like Trey Hendrickson is telling the Cincinnati Bengals, just trade me. I don't want to be a part of this team anymore. According to ESPN, Cincinnati Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson remains entrenched on his position of not playing the upcoming season. Hendrickson spoke to ESPN's Laura Rutledge in Landover, Maryland, ahead of Cincinnati's 31-17 preseason win against the Washington Commanders on Monday night, at the core tenets of his stance. Whoa, that didn't work out well. In his contract negotiations, Rutledge reported that Hendrickson told her that he and the team are in close agreement on the total average annual salary and the length of the deal. I bring that up because it makes me want, like if you're close in agreement, why are you demanding a trade? And I get it. It's a negotiating tactic. The same thing similar to that of what Micah Parsons did. Micah just played his card a little too early, right? Like just a little too early. I understand, like, oh, you don't want me here, trade me. Like that's a whole thing. It's business at the end of the day. I said this on Fire and Ice the other day. If the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, I wouldn't be so upset. I know a ton of Cowboys fans out there would be upset. But if the Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, they would bring back a haul, right? And I feel like the same thing, maybe not so much because Trey Hendrickson is 30 years old, 31 years old, but I still believe Cincinnati would bring back something. Like they would get something worthwhile out of that trade, like draft picks and things like that to build for the future, plus saving money on the salary cap end. But Trey Hendrickson doesn't want to be traded. He just wants to be somewhere where he's getting paid. Our dude B. Strilla saying, good morning, Mr. Tipton. Good morning, Strilla. Hope that you are having yourself a fantastic day today, my friend. We're talking Trey Hendrickson and his trade demand while also saying that, we're kind of close to a deal. We're kind of close. There's the possibility that we're going to be super close. Augustine saying if the Cowboys trade Parsons and the fans aren't upset, then we are all right about Cowboys fans. It's not necessarily, I don't even know how you can say that. Well, like I genuinely don't. Micah Parsons is the best defensive player on the Dallas Cowboys. I agree with you on that. But if you were to say, like any team, if you were to say we're going to trade this guy so that we can get draft picks and reload for the future so that we can have flexibility with the salary cap, I don't see how that would necessarily be bad. Well, like you're building for the future. Yes, some fans would be upset, but I don't think that you could put all like it's a business decision. At the end of the day, it's a business. Augustine saying they're always reloading. That's the thing, is they're not. Like we talk about this all the time on this show. Like the Dallas Cowboys, historically, not a team that's very active in free agency, right? Like the Dallas Cowboys haven't really been a team that's going out and spending a ton of money in the offseason. So to say that they're always reloading is just a fallacy, right? Like they've built this team mainly with draft picks, like through the draft and stuff like that. So you can't say they're always reloading. They have good drafts. They have bad drafts sometimes. Mozzie Smith comes to mind when you think of a bad draft. Our dude Tommy Canasa saying, what's up, Tip? What's up, Tommy? Hope that you're having yourself a great day. We were talking Trey Hendrickson being traded from the Cincinnati Bengals. I had mentioned that on Saturday on Fire and Ice that I had spoken about the possibility, like if Dallas were to trade Micah Parsons, they would get a haul, like an absolute haul. A lot of people are not going to agree with that. Augustine asking me if I got my check from Uncle Jerry. It does feel like I'm on Jerry Jones's payroll. I don't like this place that I've carved out for myself. Now I'm the apologist for Jerry Jones. Shout out to Venus Clay tuned in over on Facebook. B. Strilla saying Cincinnati is open to trading Hendrickson. When he asked for a trade, they were like, nope. But now it's okay, LOL. Yeah, it really does feel like Cincinnati's just not sure what it is that they want to do. The Crooked Commish tuning in. What's good, Crooked Commish? Hope that you're having yourself a great day, my friend. I will be joining the Crooked Commish tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Going to be another busy day. I like busy days. I will take a busy day over a not busy day. Every Wednesday from now on. Looking like it's going to be a busy day for your boy. But all I'm saying is if the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, as a Cowboys, I wouldn't be upset. Like I'd be mad in the moment, depending on what you got back. B. Strill saying if Dallas trades Micah Parsons, that would be the worst thing for that franchise. I don't see how that, like, I feel like the money you save is a way that you can build and draft, and like you would get so much draft picks and things like that. The worst thing for the franchise is that Jerry Jones owns it. If you're trading Micah Parsons and it's worse than Jerry Jones, I don't know how you could say it like that. I'm just like, and the same thing with Cincinnati, right? Like, if Trey Hendrickson was really to be traded, and all this is just, again, like Dallas isn't going to trade Micah Parsons. Cincinnati isn't going to trade Trey Hendrickson. All that is, whenever players say this stuff, is a negotiating tactic, right? We all know this. But if Cincinnati were to trade Trey Hendrickson, they'd be able to get something back too. How can trading the best defensive player be a good thing? Goodness gracious me, is what Augustine is saying. Because you're building for the future. The Dallas Cowboys might not get enough. Again, we say this all the time, right? I was having an argument with Brandon Cohen about this on Saturday. Everyone's expectations for the Dallas Cowboys are Super Bowl or bust, right? Like I don't know why the Dallas Cowboys encompass this realm of you either win the Super Bowl or you had a shitty team. There's so much gray area. Like I look at the Dallas Cowboys. I know Strilla has them winning the division. I've got them best case scenario being a wild card team, getting knocked out in the playoffs, not a legitimate Super Bowl contender. You would still occupy that exact same space without Micah Parsons. And again, like I feel like I'm on an island with this because it's the same thing we were doing with Joe Burrow. I feel like if Joe Burrow were on the Dallas Cowboys, they'd still be a fringe playoff team, and it wouldn't be that great. Strela saying the Bengals want a 2026 draft pick, a number 1 2026 first round 2026 draft pick, and a young defensive player. To me, that's not asking too much. Like that's asking too little, probably. Whenever you go out and say, this is what we're going to do, I think you can get a number 1 for Trey Hendrickson. I know the Dallas Cowboys, if they were to trade Micah Parsons, would get a slew of number 1 picks, right? Like you can get 3 number 1 picks for Micah Parsons. Now, Tommy Carranza brought this up the other day on Fire and Ice, where he said that I gave Jerry Jones a little too much credit because Jerry Jones traded Amari Cooper in his prime for a 4th round pick. Augustine saying Joe Burrow would take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl back to back, and Parsons wouldn't want to leave. I'm saying this again. I firmly believe that Parsons doesn't want to leave. I firmly believe that they already have the contract hammered out. It's going to be signed the day of, September 4th, when the Dallas Cowboys are going to play Philadelphia. It's going to be signed seconds before the Cowboys take the field. And Micah Parsons is just miraculously going to be in his uniform, ready to go, ready to play, like nothing ever happened. I'm a firm believer in that. I just say the negotiating chip, right? And I go with the hypothetical. All this, 100% hypothetical. If the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, in my mind, would it suck? Yes. Would it be terrible for the team? No. Like it would build, like. Are you telling me that if you had the opportunity of getting multiple high, first round draft picks, that you wouldn't do it? That you wouldn't do that? Tommy Kanata saying it was a pick swap, a 4th for a 5th, and Amari Cooper. Now, they ain't getting a number 1 for Trey, and a young defensive player, definitely hell nah. Dude is 31. But think about this. If you're a team like the Denver Broncos, and you have a great secondary, and you have an okay defensive line, wouldn't you be apt to trade for a guy like Trey Hendrickson, who can get to the quarterback, because we all agree, right? Like that division is wide open. If you're a team that's on the fringe, right? Like you're a fringe championship contending team. If you were, let's go with the hypothetical, the Kansas City Chiefs, and you were to trade for Trey Hendrickson, wouldn't that make your defense that much better? Now Chris Jones is able to get less double teams because they got to worry about Trey Hendrickson. I'm just saying, again, I'm just going with the hypothetical. Like, I don't think either one of these players are going to leave, but I'm just going with that hypothetical. Augustine saying, is it bad that I read that with B's accent? LOL. B doesn't have an accent, though. Does B? I also get told I have an accent, which is kind of weird. And he's going to want that extension. That's why you're going to have to go to a team that's got salary cap flexibility, right? I'm just saying, like, again, any team. Augustine saying B does have an accent. Wow. I would not stand for that. It's a northern country accent. B's not country. B's from Detroit. Or do you mean like North United States accent or something? Like possibly Canadian accent? Detroit further north than the southern tip of Canada. I know that. Augustine saying that he has an accent. We know. Every time you're on the show, we hear your accent. It boils my blood. I'm going to get shut down one of these days. Yes, North USA, kind of country, LOL. Huh. I remember whenever I was at ESPN, they used to tell me that I did sound like I was Southern, which is weird to me because I don't feel like I sound Southern. Strela saying, no, definitely not Canadian. There's nothing wrong with Canada. I love Canada. Great poutine. Again, if the Dallas Cowboys were to trade, and again, we're I feel like I'm doing the OJ thing here. If I did it, this is how I would have done it, right? I'm writing a book on all this stuff. I'm doing the OJ thing here. If I did it, this is what I would have done. If the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, it would be bad, right? Like I know like I would be upset. Unlike most people, though, I would sit back and be like, you know what? I get it. That's my whole thing, right? And you got to think of it like the same way with the locker room. If the glove fits, you must acquit. If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. If the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, I would get over it rather quickly, depending upon what the Dallas Cowboys were to get back. Now, if the Dallas Cowboys got like a 7th-round draft pick from Micah Parsons, I would lose my shit. Like 100%. I would lose my shit. Bistro saying, I didn't say there's nothing wrong with Canada. Not at all. I have a Detroit accent. A Detroit accent. An accent from Detroit. The Motor City accent. I don't even really hear an accent. That's a crazy thing about it. But I guess it's because like I don't see accents. I don't hear accents, just like I don't see color. I know it's weird whenever people say that. I don't see color. There you go. Eminem Detroit accent. I can see Strilla from 8th Mile. You don't have to see them. LOL is what Augustine is saying. Okay. I got you. I'm with you. Again, all I'm saying is if the Dallas Cowboys were to trade Micah Parsons, I would not be nearly as mad as some Dallas Cowboys fans would be. I also feel like Micah Parsons in this hypothetical trade situation would bring you more than Trey Hendrickson, right? But like Trey Hendrickson wants to be traded. He wants all his money, and I don't blame him, right? Like I was listening to Unsportsmanlike today on ESPN radio while I'm getting ready for the show. And this guy calls in, and you can tell I don't know what he's got to be a Cowboys fan, which made me disappointed. But he's like, how much money do these guys need? My dude, how much money do you need? Because if you had the opportunity to bend the team over the table and get as much money from them as possible, you would do that. All of us would do that. If we had the negotiating chip of, I want more money because I bring you this, every single one of us would do that. We can't in our everyday job. Maybe Augustine can, but we can't in our everyday job because there's normally stuff that's set. There is no set salary, set money in sports. There is none. You don't come in and each quarterback makes this much. Each defensive player makes this much. It's however much you can possibly make. So yeah, maximize the hell out of that thing. Augustine saying at the end of the day, it would be stupid for Dallas to trade Parsons. Then going on to say, I need $2,000 a week. That's it. It's not much. Just $2,000 a week. Keep up with that lifestyle that Augustine is living. I remember back in the day, like making like $500 every 2 weeks. It was crazy to me whenever I was working at iHeart because like I would do all the remotes, and the remotes is where you make your money, right? Like you're going out doing the appearances. Come join me at this car dealership. Come get some pizza, some donuts, and buy a new car. Seems like an easy trade-off. And those things would pay, right? Like those things would be where you make your money. But whenever the pandemic hit and those things dried up and disappeared and just went the way that they went because no one was going out anywhere, I realized how low my base salary was. That 2-week check came and it was like $600. And I was like, oh my God. I've got to change my life around here. How I was able to buy a house while I was working at iHeart is crazy to me. The dealerships had lunch for Friday and Saturdays. 100% they did. And that was always the thing, man. Like I love doing it because like I'd go out there and meet people and stuff like that. But I also questioned what the payoff was for the dealerships other than their salespeople coming over and getting free pizza and free donuts. A car dealership at like 9:00 in the morning is one of the like just most depressing places you can be. There was a Dodge dealership here in El Paso that had a basketball court though. So I would go out there and do that. Augustine saying you never worked at iHeart. You donated your time. They never paid me. It was all just proper donations. It really feels like that from time to time, my guy. You hit that nail right on the head. Right on the head. Okay. Strilla, I know you say that you don't think Trey Hendrickson is going to get a first-round pick or a young defensive player. So the question now comes up, what would you trade for Trey Hendrickson versus what would you trade for Micah Parsons? What would you trade for Trey Hendrickson versus what you would trade for Micah Parsons? Because again, and I said this on Fire and Ice, I feel like I've been repeating myself over the last couple of days, but Micah Parsons doesn't have the power in this. Augustine saying, it depends on the dealership. Porsche on the west side is amazing. Go see Jeff Pestner. The Crooked Commissioner saying they paid you just the tip of your worth. 100% they did. 100% they did. Man. I don't know if I ever said this or not, but like I remember what it was like. My nephew got a job working at McDonald's, like his first job. And his hourly salary was more than what I was making at iHeart. Like as far as my hourly salary went. I remember thinking to myself, I went to college for this. I went to school to like learn how to become a journalist and get comfortable with a microphone and like do all this other stuff. Do I use it to the best of my ability? At iHeart, a little bit. Here, definitely not. But I do this more out of passion. Like the iHeart thing was like, Jesus Christ, man. My nephew at McDonald's making more than me if you take away the remotes. Thank God, like late 2020, the remotes started coming back. And then those MFers laid me off. Woosah. Woosah. It'll be all right. We've gone through enough therapy on that. I see an article here talking about the Washington Commanders. Beastrill saying Micah would definitely warrant a number 1 or 2 for Hendrickson. Maybe a 2 or 3, maybe a 2 and 2, maybe a couple of number 2s, right? Like, I think Micah would get you more than one number 1. But like I genuinely, like, if we're talking about him as the best defensive player possibly in the NFL, and it would be this huge detriment to the Dallas Cowboys if they were to trade Micah Parsons. Once again, hypothetical. I don't think the Cowboys are going to trade Micah Parsons. But if we're talking about it in that aspect, then he would warrant a huge haul. Because he's a young guy. He's proven himself to be one of the best defensive players in the NFL. He's not on the other end of 30. I think he'd be all right. Strilla saying, I did say a couple of numbers. My bad, man. My bad. Don't yell at me. I'm sorry. Jeez. Please don't hurt me. I saw this article right here that was talking a little bit about the Washington Commanders taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, that was Monday Night Football. And it was cool, just as like an older sports fan, to see Rich Eisen back at ESPN. Like that was super cool. That was fun for me. Augustine saying, okay, people, I've got a meeting. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good day, Augustine. Hope that meeting goes well for you, my friend. Got to get that 2,000 a week. You gotta work on that, brother. I was thinking about that. That's what, $8,000 a month? That's not bad. That's not bad. That's a good way to live. A great way to live. But I was just thinking to myself how awesome it was to see Rich Eisen back on ESPN's airwaves yesterday. I know that his radio show is going to be back on ESPN radio, or actually debut on ESPN radio. And that's going to be really cool. Like I love Rich Eisen. I think it's such a great thing. It's going to be weird to see him not on the NFL Network, or maybe he still will be on the NFL Network. You got to see how all that goes. But I guess if ESPN is buying the NFL Network, it kind of all makes sense right there, right? Beastrill saying Joe Burrow needs not to try his best Mike Vick impression. I'm all for it. If he thinks he's got those kind of wheels, go ahead and do it, my guy. Go ahead and do it. Rich Eisen is my guy, says Beastrilla. It was great. It was just nostalgia for me, right? Now ESPN brings back Dan Patrick. You get Rich Eisen and Dan Patrick. Even if it was for one day, I'd be a happy guy. I'd be a super happy guy. It would be just the tip of my nostalgia.
I just want to put the tip in.
It's time for
Just a Tip.
That would make me uncomfortable.
Promise that it ain't too much, but just enough. Just a tip. Just a tip.
Just the tip? Just the tip.
Just the Tip is brought to you by our friends over at www.myhappynuts.com. Guys, go to www.myhappynuts.com right now, right damn now. You need to make sure you're going out there as often as possible. They've got the new Lawnmower 2.0 that has a stronger blade, a stronger battery, a better life, and a smoother glide to make sure you're taking care of your nether region with no nicks and cuts or any of that other stuff. They've got the whole body deodorant to make sure you're smelling good. And of course, they got the comfort cream so you don't have to do the stanky leg while you're walking around outside. www.myhappynuts.com. Use promo code Mike Tipton at checkout and save on all of your male grooming needs. Tommy Canazza saying, I don't understand why ESPN bought the NFL Network. They are just going to ruin it and have let everyone go like they did their network. Oh, man. I remember, I think I've said this before, but like my first day whenever I went to go work at ESPN up in Bristol, they laid off. It was either my first day or my first week. It was all a blur, but they laid off like 150 people. I feel like expanding out and getting the NFL Network, like we already kind of knew whenever you're a broadcast partner, that's what brings you money, right? But now it's another revenue stream for ESPN to try to get more money out of the NFL. And I feel like it might be a way to kind of sustain ESPN and prevent them from having to have more layoffs. Like, again, I got a lot of friends that still work there. So I don't want to see those types of layoffs. Plus, one day I'd like to go back. Like, I'm not lying. Like, one day I'd love to go back, produce radio at ESPN once again. I think it would be awesome. The Cricket Commission and Dan Patrick would be cool, considering we can't get Stuart Scott back. That, oh man, that would have been a dream, right? It was cool to see Rich Eisen yesterday talking about like how Stuart Scott should be there with him. And man, I loved me some Stuart Scott. It was so great. Like everything about that time. But I feel like that was, again, I feel like, you know, people do this as they get older, right? Like it's always about my generation of stuff was better than your generation of stuff. But I really feel like that generation of ESPN talent, whenever you had Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott and Scott Van Pelt and Rich Eisen all there, just kind of like doing their thing. Even Keith Olbermann and people like that doing their thing. It was like the best version of SportsCenter at the time. Now, I don't know if it's because as I got older, I just can't watch SportsCenter the way that I used to whenever I was a kid, like just have it on all the time. So maybe it's just that type of way, right? Like the nostalgia for me. I feel like it's the same thing with people on Saturday Night Live, where like the generation that I fell in love with Saturday Night Live is better than any generation that's out there. My music is better than your music type of thing, right? I don't know. I'm man, it would be cool. Like that would be super cool. But that to me, once again, in my mind, was the pinnacle, the absolute top that you could possibly get when it came down to like SportsCenter. As cool as the other side of the pillow, that's right. That was one of my favorite lines of his. Booyah. I have a picture. I got to find it. But I've got a picture from whenever I was there. They give you a tour of the entire facility at ESPN. And they have a wall, a big old wall that has like all the quotes that the SportsCenter anchors would say, right? Like their catchphrases. And they got that big old booyah. And it's in black to memorialize Stuart Scott. The rest of them are red and white, but this one's in black with like a red lettering in it to memorialize Stuart Scott. And it was just like, it was so cool. Well, like it was genuinely a really cool experience being over at ESPN. Obviously, right? Like obviously, it was a really cool experience being a part of all the stuff that I did over there. I saw an article here, and this is what got me thinking about, how cool it was seeing Rich Eisen on ESPN's airwaves yesterday. I actually stayed up. The old man stayed up so that way I could watch Rich Eisen doing his thing. But I see this article right here that's talking about Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson Jr. did not play against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night, possibly signaling the end of his tenure with the franchise after 3 seasons. Neither Robinson nor wide receiver Terry McLaurin, who isn't practicing while seeking a contract extension, were in attendance at Northwest Stadium for the loss. The Commanders could end up trying to trade Robinson over the next several days, one league source said. Remember how I talk about windows, right? Like is your window open? Is your window closing? And we're seeing with the Washington Commanders that some teams just don't get the same kind of window that other teams get. We're already talking about, like we're talking about this team as if they were going to be a championship contending type team, the Washington Commanders. They don't have their best wide receiver, their best offensive option, their best offensive weapon. They don't have their best running back. And Brian Robinson Jr., sneaky good running back for them. That offense, the ability that offense had with Jaden Daniels is really what helped them out, is really what made them look good. Not being able to have that and not being able to rely on those options is the reason why, I am entrenched on thinking the Washington Commanders are more than likely going to miss the playoffs completely. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. There's going to be a regression there. And if you don't have Terry McLaurin and you don't have Brian Robinson Jr., it just feels like, man, like the Washington Commanders, like that window is slowly closing. Our guy, Gary Bryant. What's up, Gary? It's been a while, my friend. Good morning, Tip. Good morning, chat. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are well today, Gary. Enjoying that North Carolina. Hopefully you don't get too much wind and rain from Hurricane Erin as it passes by the East Coast. The Cricket Commission rumor is that Robinson is on the trade block. And again, like we were talking about the hypothetical, right? Of if you were to trade Micah Parsons, what would you get? If you were to trade Trey Hendrickson, what would you get? And I feel like if Washington were to trade Brian Robinson Jr., despite the fact that he's a decent running back, we can all say that he's a decent running back, they won't get what he brings to that team. I guess if you're going to rely on Deebo Samuel maybe more as your running back, but Brian Robinson Jr. has been a valuable piece to that Washington Commanders team. I'm sure there's a ton of teams out there that would like him, but a running back isn't going to get you the same trade pieces that a lot of other players out there would get you, that a lot of other positions out there would get you. So I'm cool with Brian Robinson Jr. being on the trade block, right? Like, I think it would be a great option in Dallas. I can't see Dallas making a trade with Washington. Maybe Miami, right? Like maybe they can do something in Miami. But again, you're not going to give up top tier prospects. You're not going to you're not going to get a first round draft pick for a running back. It's just not going to happen. Unless that running back was like Derrick Henry or Saquon Barkley or someone like that. I don't even think you're getting a first-round draft pick if San Francisco was to say Christian McCaffrey is available right now. Would Seattle make that trade? Right? Like what team right now, other than the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, really needs a running back? So like even then, the market for him to be traded isn't the highest market it can get right now, right? Like you would need a team that had a catastrophic injury to their starting running back in the preseason in order for them to be enticed enough to make a trade for Brian Robinson Jr. And I like Brian Robinson Jr. He's on one of my fantasy teams, my dynasty team. But I'm sitting here trying to I'm going through the teams in the NFL, thinking about, okay, what team could really use a running back? And like even Jacksonville, I feel like Jacksonville's okay. None of the teams really in the AFC South, right? Because you got Joe Mixon, you've got Jonathan Taylor, you got Tony Pollard, who the Titans just gave a big contract to. You got Tank Bigsby and them boys. Like I can't think of a potential landing spot for Brian Robinson Jr. Maybe the Giants, but you make that trade in division. It doesn't seem like it's a trade that's going to be made. For a 6th or a 7th round pick, any team would be interested, and I honestly think that's why Washington would be receiving for Robinson. I'm with you on that. If I'm Washington, though, like I don't try to trade him for less than a 5th, like a 4th or a 5th, right? Like you got to try to get as much as possible, but I feel like what they're ultimately going to wind up trading him for is a 6th or a 7th. And if if I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I can make a trade for Brian Robinson and only give up a 6th round pick, I'm making that trade. The chances of that 6th round pick coming back and biting you in the ass, I don't feel like that's going to be a thing, right? Like, yeah, he's on the block. They have Austin Eckler, Ja'Cory Crowley Merritt, Chris Rodriguez at running back, so the position is stacked. But again, even with the position stacked like it was last season, I'm just. But like Austin Eckler didn't have a great season with the Washington Commanders last year. Again, I have him on a fantasy team, another dynasty team, and he just didn't have that great of a season. Now, obviously, it helps him out. Maybe he gets more touches and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to watch. Tommy Conanza saying that has Cowboys written all over it. Yeah, they trade a 6th round pick, and that 6th round pick winds up becoming a Hall of Famer for the Washington Commanders, winning them like 4 Super Bowls. That would happen to the Dallas Cowboys. That would 100% happen to that team. I hate that I love them. I've said that a million times. I hate that I love them. But it's all good. Would Robinson be an upgrade over Williams? Sanders? Yeah, for sure. I do believe that Robinson Jr. would be an upgrade over Williams. I genuinely do. But I also don't feel like I like what the Dallas Cowboys have right now at running back, right? I'm trying to think of other teams that are like a contender that could really use a running back. And other than the Dallas Cowboys, like I can't, and that might just be because maybe I'm not a big fan of Williams. Maybe I'm not a big fan of Miles Sanders. Like I like Jaden Blue. I like Phil Maffa. I think the Dallas Cowboys could have themselves a 1-2 punch with those two guys. Have Williams or Sanders be like the 3rd running back on the team just for depth purposes and things of that nature. I was so high on Miles Sanders early on in his career. Like I really I thought he was going to be a game-changing running back. I'm surprised that he's still in the NFL, to be honest with you. I genuinely am. But I do think Brian Robinson Jr. would be an upgrade at the position for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe Pittsburgh, but I feel like Pittsburgh has a solid running game anyway, right? Like, man, is there a contending team out there that would overpay for a running back? And I think the answer to that is a resounding no. There's no way in hell, at least not in my opinion. I don't feel like there's any way that it would work. But again, like I started this conversation talking about the window for the Washington Commanders. I feel like Brian Robinson Jr. with the Commanders is more important to them than what they're kind of letting on. And I know that people are going to say, like Gary mentioned right now, they've got a decent running back room. But is that a championship contending running back room? Washington's going to trade Robinson in order to get their old team name back. If I'm Jerry Jones, I am buying the trademark to the Washington Redskins name and forcing the Washington Commanders to pay me to use that name. Jerry, look me in the eyes. You're an old racist. It works out perfectly for you. Buy the name of the Washington Redskins and make the Washington Commanders pay you so that way they can get their name back. And then that entire fan base would be indebted to you in all of perpetuity. Make it happen, Jerry. I feel like I'm an evil son of a bitch for thinking that. Gary Bryant saying, wait. How many leagues are you in, Tip? I am in 3 fantasy leagues. I might do a 4th. I was thinking of doing a fantasy league for the show. I just don't know how many people would join it. If you would be interested in joining a fantasy league for the show, I'll put out like a poll on my social media, and we'll see who's willing to join that. But the last time I was a commissioner of a league, it didn't go out. It didn't work very well. So I think it'll just be like a basic ass league. Maybe we'll put some money on the line. We'll get a championship belt involved like I had in the past. But I'm in 3 fantasy leagues. 2 of them are dynasty, so it just kind of does their thing. One of them is drafting right now, as a matter of fact. Tommy Canazza saying, I am in 7. Jesus Christ. Tommy saying that he would join the league. Hey, we got 2 people so far. 2 people. All we need is 8 more. I think a 10 to 12 team league is perfect, right? I don't want an 8 team league. Basic is good. Oh yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Basic leagues are fine. I tried doing a vampire league last year. It didn't work out for me. So too many people complaining, but it's because I don't think, despite the fact that I had the rules and everything there, I don't think very many people understood what was happening with the vampire league. Tommy Canazza on 7 leagues. Goodness gracious. No shit. Like, you can't pay attention to all those leagues, man. Like, it's just got to be like 2 of those leagues that you're like really all in on. Like just 2 of them. Just 2 of them. Okay, so I had mentioned a little earlier that I had done an interview. Daniel Jones just got the starting position for the Colts. Not too surprising. Not at all. But again, like, it's the Colts. I feel like the Colts are going to have, it's going to be a long season. If you're a Colts fan, it's going to be a long season. Tommy Canazza saying it's hard, and yes, you pay attention to all 7 of your teams. Jesus, man, you are a trooper. You are 100% a trooper, man. It's going to be a long season for the Indianapolis Colts. All right, y'all. So I'm going to end today's show with an interview that I had with celebrity chef Josh Capon, who joined me from the Little League World Series on behalf of www.beefitswhatsfordinner.com to talk about all the proteins and things like that you need, not only in your kids' life, obviously, because if you've got kids, you need to make sure they're fed correctly, but also in your life as an adult that might be active, more active than me. Anyone's more active than me. Tommy's saying that one of them has a $5,000 payout. That's the one that gets the majority of the attention. I agree on that one. That would get all my attention as well. My ESPN fantasy league, my dynasty league that I have with my friends from SiriusXM and from ESPN. That gets the majority of my attention just because I want to be able to say I beat them. I'm the Dallas Cowboys in that league. I make it to the playoffs. I have a great record, and I lose in the first round. It always happens. Woosah, I'll be all right. But once again, everyone, just stay tuned real quick. We got Josh Capon from the www.beefitswhatsfordinner.com joining us from the Little League World Series to talk about beef and how beef is much better for you than you might think. Deal with them. Josh, first, thank you for joining me. Secondly, what's it like being out there in the Little League World Series right now?
Well, thanks for having me. And I got to tell you, you can just taste the excitement in the air. I'm seeing the kids practice on the field, getting ready for their big games. I mean, this is a game of a lifetime. The field looks absolutely beautiful. The weather is perfect, and they're ready to play ball, I'll tell you.
And you're ready to make sure that you got them fed nice and right?
That's what I do best, man. When they come off the field, I'll have some burgers and sliders waiting for them.
What's the number one thing that they're waiting for? Is it always the burgers? Is it hot dogs? Like, what's the number one?
I think they come running for the burgers, some meatball sliders, some steak tacos, some grilled skirt steak right off the grill. Give them meat, give them protein, and make them smile.
You're making me want to do like I don't know if you've seen the movie The Bench Warmers, but I think I can get a birth certificate that says I'm 12. I could be a part of this.
Oh, I sure have many times. It's one of my son's favorite movies.
There we go. For the parents that are out there, what's one of the biggest challenges when it comes to keeping active kids fueled with enough protein?
Listen, just like you, I have a kid that plays baseball, so I know from experience how busy life gets. From school to practice, young athletes, they need energy, they need carbohydrates, and most importantly, they need protein. But it can be hard to keep them fueled when you're on the go. That's why I turned to beef. There's lots of ways to prepare ground beef and steak in advance, and I know my kids are happy eating beef for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Now, my kids are the same way. They love eating beef. They love eating chicken. I've always been told if you give the kids too much beef, it could be a bad thing. So where do you find the balance there?
Listen, I think active kids need a lot of protein, and beef delivers. It's also packed with key nutrients like zinc and iron and vitamin B. So it's a great way to keep young athletes fueled on and off the field.
We can see that you've got the Little League World Series background right there behind you. You're actually there live. You're on site. I can hear the wind. I can hear everything like that. Tell us a little bit about your partnership and what you're expecting to see from some of these games this summer.
Well, the goal of Beef is What's for Dinner brand partnership with the Little League is to support a healthy lifestyle from those early years of being in Little League all the way through adulthood. Whether it's practices, game time, or a celebration meal, Little League families nationwide choose beef to stay fueled and satisfied. And personally, I can't wait to watch these kids take the field and give it everything they got and leave it all out on the field.
Was baseball your favorite sport growing up? Because I know for me, like I love everything about baseball. I know people say it's a little slow, but it's all about nostalgia for me. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. It's America's pastime. My son plays and I love to play. I was never super athletic growing up as a kid, so baseball was definitely my sport, if you know what I mean. But look, take me out to the ball game each and every day.
What was it that like inspired you to get one involved with the Little League World Series and then two get involved with becoming a chef?
Listen, I've always loved to eat. I think one of my biggest passions in life is feeding kids, especially, but not just feeding kids, teaching kids how to cook and eat responsibly. There's a lot of bad stuff out there that's not good for your body. If these kids want to be the best on the field, they need to put the proper fuel in their body to make sure they perform at the top level.
So I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I've got a 13-year-old. I've got an 8-year-old. My 13-year-old has expressed that he wants me to kind of show him around the kitchen, around the grill. He loves whenever I'm making steaks. He wants to get in there with it. Do you have any tips? Do you have any tips for someone like me?
Well, first of all, get them involved. Get them to appreciate good food. I always say, don't just tell your kids to set the dinner table. That's not fun. Get them involved in the cooking process. Teach them what the different cuts of meat are. Teach them the difference between a strip and a fillet and a porterhouse and all that kind of stuff. Teach them what marbling means. Tell them how to pick out a great steak and tell them how to cook it properly. From seasoning it aggressively with some salt and pepper, just grilling it on the grill, or having to braise a piece of meat. We all love a braised short rib or something like that, but why the two different methods? I think the more knowledge you give them, the more appreciation they're going to have for the food that they're eating, and actually want to get involved and want to eat good food. I mean, you can go to McDonald's all day long and eat a burger. It's not what you should be putting in your body. I mean, every now and then, maybe a guilty pleasure, but teach your kids how to appreciate, how to prepare, and how to respect good food, and I think you're teaching them an incredible life lesson.
So I'm the type of person, I'm always a steak and potatoes and green beans kind of guy. I feel like I'm super basic. I've got to expand my horizons. What do you have that I can go out there and get that'll be a little different than that?
Listen, just start with some marinades and some dry rubs. There's some great dry rubs out there that you can season your steak with before you throw it on the grill. It just gives it that extra umami, that extra flavor, Bob. It gives it a nice crust, a nice great steer. I happen to love onions. Caramelize some onions with those green beans. Potatoes, there's 100 different ways to cook potatoes. So you don't have to keep it that simple, but don't be afraid to have a little bit of fun with it and push the envelope, and I promise you'll appreciate it.
I like that. You've inspired me. I've got to expand my horizons. I got to do it for my kids. If I leave it up to me, I'm going to keep doing the same thing over and over.
Listen, change it up a little. There's so many. Listen, go to itsbeeffordinnerwhat's.com There's so many great recipes on there. Just have some fun with it. Every day you should be cooking a different, and you're going to fall in love with certain recipes, and those will become your go-tos. Even these meatball sliders. I mean, I do homemade meatballs, which are super easy. Spaghetti and meatballs is one of my go-to meals every week, but make sure you make a lot of extra meatballs so you have them on hand, because you can make these meatball sliders for a quick snack or lunch. You can throw them in a cooler bag, bring them out to the game with you, and then eat them in between innings.
So what are some of your like go-to meal ideas? I know you just spoke about spaghetti and meatballs right now. We got the meatball sliders right in front of you. What are some of your go-to ideas for young men?
I love firing up the grill. One of my go-tos these days are skirt steak tacos. Get some skirt steak, give it a little chili rub on there, char broil them on the grill, slice them against the grain, get some nice flour corn tortillas, a little charred tomato salsa, some Monterey Jack or some Cotija cheese, a slice of avocado. I'm telling you, they are so lights out good. People come over to my house, they're eating 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. They're like, where'd you get these? I'm like, I made them. Skirt steak is an unbelievable cut. It takes on the marinade so beautifully. It chars up on the grill. It cooks quickly, and just slice it against the grain. Again, in some tortillas with a little salsa. It is a home run, and I'm not just saying that because we're at the Little League World Series.
I love the fact that you brought up like real corn tortillas, real flour tortillas. I'm in El Paso, Texas, right on the border with Mexico.
Let's go.
And I've heard people be like, oh, whenever you do tacos, you got to get like the old El Paso taco shells. I'm like, no, guys, we got to get real tortillas here. Get them marinated.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. Corn tortillas off the griddle are the way to go, but I am an old school ground beef taco guy all day long in the hard corn shells with the lettuce, tomatoes, sour cream salsa, some seasoned ground beef. To me, it's one of my guilty pleasures. I can eat those things all day long.
There we go. I think you've inspired me. I think I might do those tacos today. Let's just go back.
You got to do taco night once a night. Spaghetti and meatballs once a week. Taco night once a week. I mean, those are easy go-tos. Obviously, some grilled steak, burgers. I mean, again, my kids, if I say what's for dinner and I say beef, they don't ask any more questions. They just come running to the dinner table.
See, my kids are very similar, but they also want me to like do chicken, but it's always beef, 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 beef. I feel bad as a parent sometimes because, like I said, I've always been told you got to slow down on the beef. But I got 2 active kids. They're in sports. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
Well, listen, life is about moderation. But if they look good and they feel good, and listen, there's a lot of vitamin B in there, and zinc and iron, and it gives them the protein that they need. And if you balance out the meal, they shouldn't be eating 20 ounces of steak per sitting. But I think if you balance out nicely, make sure they get some veggies in there and some potatoes, balance it out, it's a great meal.
Dad's going to be eating at least 20 ounces of steak most of the time. Like, you know how we do it.
I hear you. I won't say nothing, I promise.
So you mentioned the website a little bit earlier. Let us know where we can go to learn some more.
Head on over to beefitswhatsfordinner.com for so many great recipes and get truly inspired, and let us know which ones you love the most.
Josh, I want to thank you so much. I think what you're doing is amazing, helping kids with their nutrition, being out there with the Little League World Series. I hope you have a great time out there, my friend, and I hope to see you later on.
I appreciate you saying so, buddy. Let's play ball. Let's go.